Till August 2020, year of the plague, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020. Our nightmare group has just met and we told each other our nightmares, and I will synthesize them for you because I don't think any human being could take them all. So I am offering myself as a radical digest of our friends' nightmares. It was, all it is, to play the nightmare critic for a moment, like the insertion of language in the great ape, just as momentous. What happens when there is no longer a society? When society becomes a retractile, flat objects on a screen of faces interacting without bodies. We are living through a huge social experiment. After years of bashing our families, tribes, nations, sciences, and arts on social expansion and extension of the senses, with the idea that human beings will be better beings by expanding their physical presence, and their impact on other human beings will be to share empathy and knowledge that involve the body to a greater or lesser extent. After millennia of what we called civilization, or the polis, the political body, we find ourselves in a vast prison where each person is imprisoned in their own glass cell and can only communicate through one glass wall. If people don't touch, their bodies will shrivel, wither, and die. A situation much worse than being in a traditional jail, where society exists in a great many physical dimensions. The bars of a jail for infractors are very few compared to the number of glass walls that encapsulate us now. In a traditional jail, there are only a few bars to keep the prisoners in and the outside world out of reach. The traditional jail contains people who broke the agreed upon conventions of society and were put there by fellow humans involuntarily because they were caught. In the virtual jail, everyone is out of reach of everyone else, and there is voluntarily imprisonment. An extraordinary difference. The voluntary jail we are in has immediate effects and consequences. Our nightmares, specific as they are about the consequences. Fundamentally, it makes every human being an infractor. The question is, what laws of what society has everyone broken in order to surrender voluntarily to punishment in the greatest prison in history? The glass house made of billions of glass cells. Humanity is in prison for an infraction, the infraction of the body. In the glass house, there are no bodies, there are only flat faces. The punishment turns out to be even more drastic than you might imagine. We had our bodies taken away. All that remains is this image of a face on a screen, an image that may not be my face. The faces may not be our faces. The people who knew us when we had bodies may see a resemblance to the humans they knew. Are they sure? Are you sure? Everyone else has never met me, or anyone else who has never met a human in the body must take it on faith that the image they see is the person they are told they are seeing. These flat faces on the screens in their individual glass cells may be those of people who died a long time ago, or people who never existed, composites of pixels. all of our collective effort at making a society before we were self-jailed are now only vague history, the fuzzy memory of another human race that fades in time as we buzz in the glass cells of the glass hive. Some of us still see bodies outside. I have untouchable bodies, masked bodies that intrigue one another. The lips and the nose are the new genitals. Once secondary, now primary, as the old genitals lose their purpose. Libido, fuzzy memory, that translates into its secondary forms as it makes its way to the glass cell where it will end its days. I transit as I speak. It's me, right? I still did not reveal the details of these nightmares. I am digest making the ideas they contained. But tune in tomorrow for another dispatch from the beyond. If it isn't there, it's because I had my Wi-Fi withdrawn. This is possibly the bleakest little talk I gave, but the despondency has set into a place where I find that there is little to rescue. Andrei Codrescu.